Welcome into today's show. Got some exciting stuff. I'm going to go rapid fire with coaching and tips on the best ways to work your financing as well as your loan when you're trying to buy your first home. Lots to cover today, so let's get to this.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What's happening, my How to Buy a Homies? David Sidoni here, first-time homebuyer coach from coast to coast with tens of thousands of renters all across the country who have become homeowners through the education and empowerment they get right here at How to Buy a Home. Today's episode is going to be part 1 of the Essential First-Time Homebuyer Checklist. We got a lot of these to get to, so let's get going. Now, if you're brand new here and you're looking for the actual starting point of what you need to do, start at episode 400. That's the #1 trusted first-time homebuyer system in the United States, broken down into 10 clear steps. After that, you go to the playbook. That's episodes 440 and 441. Don't worry about it. We're going to put all those episodes in the show notes along with the full episode guide. That's where you could find the answers to anything and everything first-time homebuyer. And make sure you check out the list of interviews. Hear real-life buyer stories and how they did it. Oh, and speaking of the interviews, I've got a new segment before we get to the essentials, part 1, and that's where we're going to start today. See, the deal is, I realized I'm getting thousands of questions and stuff's coming in every single day. And so every once in a while, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop those questions with the answers right here. Real listener questions that I have received. And these first questions came directly from a fan favorite interview. That was my girl Shanta from episode 425. Man, when she first reached out, she had heard about a few different options for making a home purchase more affordable, especially in the crazy current market we're in right now. And since I know that a lot of you are looking for any solution that anyone's dishing out, I'm going to make sure I answer these questions where I separate the fact from the fiction. Here were the questions. #1, are short sale homes worth buying? Why are they called short sales when they're typically longer before closing than a normal sale? Oh, Shanta. Man, this was fun for me to answer for her because you know what? I hear this one a lot. A short sale, ironically, usually takes 3 to 6 to 9 months, sometimes even more than that to complete. So yeah, they're not short. The short in that name has nothing to do with how long it takes. It has to do with the fact that the seller is short of being able to pay back the entire amount that they owe on the loan, even with the sale of the property. But instead of going into foreclosure, what they're doing with a short sale is they're asking the bank to accept a sale for less than they owe on the loan, short of what they owe. So when you're going into these as a buyer, you got to understand, even if you have a signed contract with this seller, it's not guaranteed in any way. The seller's not selling the home. The bank is. And the bank, they need to approve it. And the approval process, that's what stretches it out so long. It can take months and months. And there are zero guarantees to you as the buyer. At any point, the bank could counter with crazy higher numbers, or they could just cancel the contract at any time. So you might read about the fact that short sales are a great way to get a deal. But what's happening right now is banks are incredibly reluctant to make a short sale in an appreciating market like the one we're in right now. The numbers work best for banks for a short sale if we're in a declining market where the bank has limited options to recoup their money. So in 2026, short sales are just not a viable option for first-time homebuyers. So that one's fiction. Now the second one, something else that she read about that she thought, boy, I can get a deal with this. Are tax properties good for a first-time homebuyer? If you've done any research, maybe you'll see about people buying homes by picking up the tax lien and suddenly they get the property. All right, gang, you might hear that you can get a good deal on these tax lien property purchases, but this is wildly misunderstood. First of all, you're not even buying the house. You're just buying the tax lien on the house. And then you have to tie up the money and wait months or even years, and still you might never get the house. So this is totally fiction. Tax lien purchases are speculative investing. It's a super gamble game played by full-time investors with tons of cash. This secret deal, it's been gone for decades. This is now a full-on business for deep pocket investors and all their attorneys. These are insane purchases. You can't inspect the home. You can't get an appraisal. And for first-time homebuyers, they can't be traditionally financed. So right there, you can't even do them. Not to mention all the other stuff I said that says, this is ridiculous, this is fiction, it's a fantasy. Now don't worry, homies, I don't want to crush your deal hunting vibes. There are options to get deals, but these first two that she happened to ask about, they're fiction in 2026. If you're looking at short sales or tax lien properties, even foreclosures, these are not viable options right now. So don't believe anything that you read. If you see something about that, it's someone trying to sell you something. These options, they only exist to the general public in markets with high inventory and declining prices, like exactly the opposite of where we are in 2026. And in fact, right now, we're in unprecedented times. The average homeowner, they have over $300,000 in what we call home equity. Home equity cures all these problems because these homeowners, they have dozens of options to use that equity to get out of any sticky situation before the home becomes a dead asset to the bank or the government, something that they would have to unload for a bargain basement price. So I applaud everyone's efforts for researching into these, but in 2026, these type of deals, they don't exist. Anything that looks too good to be true, it comes with huge risks and are at best a super dangerous purchase or just a waste of time that's going to cost you time and money. But here's where I'm going to bring in some hope because her next question actually brought up a killer deal that she read about that does work in 2026. This one's fact. She asked, if I wanted to buy in a rural area, is a USDA loan the best way to go? Yes, facts. Rural homes that qualify for USDA loans, they can be purchased with a zero down payment loan product. Now, if that's your jam and you want to go out to a rural area, this is an amazing tool for first-time home buyers. So if you're looking at homes outside of the city, make sure that you check with your unicorn team about the USDA loan as one of your options. This one is legit. And by the way, if you're active military or a veteran, you too have a zero down payment option. That's a VA loan. So check episode 426 for all the low down payment options, including USDA, VA, and FHA, where you can get in at 3.5% down payment. Number 4 question. This is something I haven't talked about a lot about on the show, so I want to make sure I get this one out there. She said, I want to set up a trust and have the house in the trust. Would it be best to purchase the house and then add to the trust or purchase the home through the trust? Okay, this is a really good question. So let me break this down for you. Putting your home in a trust is a great idea. But since you're calculating everything to try to figure out how to buy a home, and you might be pinching down to the pennies to make sure you can get your down payment and your closing costs, one thing you need to understand is that getting a trust to put the home in before you purchase it, that's an extra cost. They can cost anywhere from $700 to $2,000. So if you want to do that and put it into the trust, that's going to be an extra cost. And again, those fees will vary depending on how detailed a trust you want to create. The good thing about having your home in a trust, because it's just something that I've recommended for years, is that you leave written instructions for the future of the home if something happens to you, rather than letting the state decide for you in something that we call probate. And I have to make sure everyone understands this. If you have a will, that's not the same as a trust, and your home will still go into probate. So the state in probate, they charge you for that process, and it's incredibly inefficient and very, very messy. So that's why some people budget for it, and they do it ahead of time. They're being extra cautious. Now, it's up to you. You could do it beforehand, or you can get into the home, save up a little bit for it, and do it later. Totally up to you. The other thing about trusts is they have different value beyond just keeping your home out of probate. They also help separate the asset from you. What that means is if you ever got sued and your home's in the right kind of trust, it removes your personal liability from the home, which reduces your exposure. Ask your trusted realtor for a recommendation to an estate planner so you can get all the details of how a trust can work for you. All right, that's our brand new listener question segment. Now, the crazy thing about Shanta's story is that she asked about all those things that she had read about online, but when she ended up getting with the right team, the real deal that she got, it was even more unbelievable than anything that she had read about online. You can listen to her interview and you can hear how she connected with the unicorn team. And just 6 months later, this single mom bought a $313,000 home using down payment assistance programs and grants, and also negotiating a credit back to her. And she only paid $31.25. Yep, that's facts. That's what she brought to the table to buy the home. And that episode also has some funny ass stories too. You got to check it out. We'll put it in the show notes. That's it on listener questions. Now let's get to the essential checklist items. And we start with the biggie, financing and loan strategies. Okay, first things first. One of the things I need to get out of the way right up at the top here is the worst myth that I hear all the time. It makes me cry inside and outside. I'm a vulnerable man. I'm okay to admit that. You do not need 20% down to buy a home. You absolutely do not. That is just a straight up lie. A 20% down payment, I can't believe when I hear the stats that something like 30 or 40% of renters out there still think they need a 20% down payment. Here's the real reality of what's going on. I have the data. Over the last 20 years, the average first-time home buyer, their down payment is between 5 and 9%, not 20%. And I'm telling you, that 5 to 9%, that number's really high because that includes some of the first-time home buyers that got either an inheritance or assistance from their parents or a big gift, and they put 10 or 15 or 20% down. So that skews the number. I've been doing this over the last same 20 years where the average was 5 to 9%. I can tell you that more than 95% of my first-time home buyers used either a 3% conventional loan or a 3.5% FHA loan or a 5% conventional loan. And many of them use the VA loan at 0 down. I don't live anywhere near the country, so I've never helped anybody here with the USDA loan. But on the podcast, we've had plenty of people that have done it. So 20%, total myth. And frankly, it's something that I really wish everyone would understand is not possible right now for most buyers anyway. So let's stop that myth. Let's kill it. You don't have to put 20% down. You just need to find a rent replacement strategy that's not going to make you feel house poor using the low down payment options that people have been using for decades, but for some reason, it doesn't rank on Google. Want to find out more about this? That's episode 440 and 426 for details. Okay, now we can get into it. Let's talk about home loan and financing advice. First thing is, most of you are probably a lot closer than you think, and you have affordable options, maybe even today. Again, I'm going to back this up with stats. One stat here at the show is that when people use mortgage calculators or a quick pre-qualification with an application with an online lender, you'll find out that both of those are garbage for helping you discover your true options. Well, they come in with these garbage numbers and they ask us here at How to Buy a Home, hey, based on what I see right here, I'm 12 to 18 months from buying. But what happens is once they get connected to a first-time home buyer specialized team, 72% of the people that think they're 12 to 18 months from buying, they're actually under contract in 3.2 months. Facts. Almost 7 years, and that number is staying the same. So the internet, it can only get you so far in your financial planning. In fact, now that I've made it my mission for almost the last 7 years to educate first-time homebuyers with the correct information, I have gone and looked all over the internet because I'm trying to see the information people are getting. And man, it's not information, it's misinformation. Most of what you read and research on the internet about getting a loan for a house is just wrong. But with a professional team that specializes in first-time homebuyers, they can open doors for you that you never even knew existed. Your full unicorn team is what we call it here at How to Buy a Home. Find more details about that in episode 437. So let's keep going here, and I'm going to drop a few of the financing tips that you'll get when you're working with a qualified first-time homebuyer specialized team. One myth that I'm busting all the time, it's the one that permeates the internet, right up there with 20% down. When you look online, you're going to see this everywhere. You're going to see, hey, want to buy a house? Step one, this is it. If you're planning to buy a home, reach out to a lender and get pre-qualified for a loan. I see that all the time, and it is so wrong. So wrong. This is absolutely not the best way to buy a home, and it certainly isn't the best way for you to save money and make this purchase affordable for yourself. What this is lenders trying to get you to call them so they can capture you and turn you into a client. Okay, quick side note here. I'll get back to the bait and switch with the online capturing lenders in a minute, but I need to clear up some language that's totally messing with people's minds in this whole scenario. Getting pre-qualified for a loan, pre-qualified, it's completely worthless. And to confuse the matter even more, this is that number one step that you see plastered all over the internet. Get pre-qualified, get pre-qualified. It is nothing but a marketing tactic to capture you as a client. Everyone in real estate knows a pre-qualification isn't worth the paper it's printed on or the kilobytes that it's saved on. The only way to get your best personal purchasing strategy is with a loan pre-approval. not a qualification, pre-approval. And a real lender looking out for you and your best interests, they'll do this for you months, even years ahead of time without dinging your credit using something we call a soft pull so your credit score won't get affected. So the lesson here is simple. Pre-qualification is a marketing tactic. A pre-approval is a dedicated effort to help you build a plan on how to buy a home the best way for you. All right. So the reason you see this get pre-qualified is because they just ask you a couple questions and then they spit out some estimate ideas for you. And the reason they're doing that is because they are hoping that you're going to be a quick sale for them. And if you are, they push you into something without working with you as a financial advisor to help find the best purchasing plan for you. And I get it. Home buying can be really overwhelming. So a lot of first-time home buyers, they grab onto the only thing that feels tangible when they get this pre-qualification. You know what that is? The interest rate. It's there. It's a number. It's clear. You can compare it. So unfortunately, would-be first-time home buyers cling to the interest rate. All right, let's get into it. First, I'll talk to you about the whole interest rate deal. Okay, there she is, the elephant in the room, the interest rate. So we'll talk about that first. And after we go through interest rates, we'll talk about how to get yourself properly qualified for a loan and get yourself a full loan approval. Okay, interest rates. I constantly read online about people who think they're being smart and financially savvy by shopping their lenders solely on the interest rates that they can find. This is the kiss of death for first-time home buyers. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this 20 years and I'm giving this away to you for free, and I'm not a lender, so I'm not even trying to capture you. This is my advice. Don't shop rates like you're looking for the shortest line in the grocery store. I have so much to say about this. I've actually said it in several other episodes, so let me just drop some of the highlights for you right here. First of all, interest rates so often get misconstrued. You don't even have one interest rate, but that's the only one everyone looks at. You've got your interest rate and then you have your APR. And that APR, that one tells the real story. Your loan's interest rate, like let's say you've got a rate of 6%. Well, that's the amount of interest that you pay on the loan. But the APR, your annual percentage rate, that's the one that includes the interest rate and other fees associated with the loan, such as an origination fee. Lenders sometimes offer mortgages with super attractive low interest rates, but then when you look at the APR, you can see they've stacked in a bunch of high fees that drive up the APR rate and your total monthly payment amount. So a lot of times a loan with a higher interest rate, but a lower APR will actually have lower monthly payments. And I see people posting all the time on Reddit. This headline I see on the subreddit for first-time homebuyers drives me crazy. People buy a house and they just put a headline. Got it, $425,000 at 6.125%. Dude, you cannot claim a win with just the price and the rate, especially without the APR. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, long story short, the right lending team that is advising you will often show all kinds of different options that are your best and most affordable options for you. So for me, the headline that I want to see on Reddit would say something like this. Got our dream home with a low down payment we didn't even know existed, and after consulting over all the other options, we decided to go with a slightly higher interest rate so we could keep some extra cash by not paying more up front for a lower rate so we can do some renovations because the home needs a little bit of work, but it's in the perfect neighborhood and school district, and it has something that we had no idea we could even afford, and I can't believe that we got this. It's even got extra space in the backyard for our work shed. But that's a little bit too long for the headline. But I guarantee you those people got a better deal. So the simple tip is this: don't shop lenders for the best rate. You are reducing the process down to a single number. Real savvy home shoppers shop people, their expertise in helping them plan, not the rate. Shop for a financial consultant and a strategist to find the best advisor for you who can lay out all of your options and then help you build a plan to get there. That's where you save the big bucks, not in that one little number. Let me say that again so you can really hear this. Think of it this way. If you fear the regret when you tell your buddies about your interest rate and they beat you and they go, bro, I shop lenders hard. I pitted them against each other and I got a dude down to 5.85. And you're thinking, oh gosh, all I got was 5.95. I understand why you feel like if that's all you've got, that you feel like you've lost the conversation. Well, actually, I should say I understand it, but I don't believe it because I personally know that every buyer's finances are wildly different. So you cannot judge one person's rate against another because there's so many variables that go into it, but that's another story. So if someone's telling you they got 5.85 and you're going, God, all I get is 5.95. Well, what if you could say this when they ask you about your rate? This is the confidence that'll make you know you're doing the right thing. Well, for me or for us, we started talking to lenders 6 months ago and we interviewed a bunch of them until we found one that showed us some incredible options that maximized our affordability potential. That way we wouldn't have to feel house poor and we could explore every advantage out there for first-time home buyers. It was awesome. I mean, eventually we ended up talking to a bunch of different lenders, and we chose a lending team that had a lot of creative loan products that worked with our particular entire financial picture, not just for a purchase today, but for the lifetime that we live in the home. Everything lined up and the equation worked better for us. We ended up with a much lower down payment than we expected. Plus, we even got some grant money that the lender knew about. And then the realtor helped us get seller credits. We ended up in a home that is way more than we thought possible. And the rate's at 5.95%, but we have a ton of extra money in the bank that we didn't have to use. And our lender laid out 3 different plans for us over the next 3 years to make sure that we're managing this new giant debt in a big way. Oh, and he and the realtor, they work together all the time. So they both check in on us to see if we have any questions as a new homeowner. That's the confidence that you should feel. A lot of people, they don't want to put the time in to shop for a lender because they don't realize that they could have a paragraph like that to show that they've really got the best person looking out for them. So that's my tip. Don't look at the number. This isn't a laptop or a designer outfit that you got on clearance and got a great deal. You can't judge a win on a home on price and clearly not on the one financial factor of the interest rate. A home purchase is a complex equation. There are so many variables in that equation in your personal custom purchase that judging it by its rate, I don't want to be harsh, but it's short-sighted. In fact, in real estate, this is what we call that type of purchase. It's someone who's buying emotionally and then justifying rationally with a single simple numeric value so they know and feel like they did this right. Rather than look at the whole thing, they look at the one number to say, see, I got a deal. Here's the deal, gang. You're not shopping for a deal. You're shopping for a life. Using a rent replacement strategy to build something that satisfies you both financially and emotionally. Once you figure that out, then I could tell you, even if it's someone just shopping straight deal and someone shopping with a financial advisor, the person working with a consultant advisor is going to make far more money in the long run and, in fact, lose less money in the long run. And probably in the first 2 or 3 years. So in the home mortgage world, there are a teeny tiny small group of true financial consultant lenders who are going to look at your full picture and then go over all your best options from the simple to the complex. Again, you want someone that acts as your advocate, not a salesperson, someone who always has your best interest in mind. Okay, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, maybe you're like, rad, dude. How do I find one of these rare lenders? All right, well, let me give you the advice that I would give to my sister in Missouri if she asked me, like she'd ever ask me. But if she did, this is what I would tell her. Interview and shop for your realtor first. I know everything on the internet says go get a lender and get pre-qualified. Fine. This is what I do full time, sis. This is the best way to do it. Shop for your realtor first and then get lender recommendations from them. First-time homebuyer specialists, people that are going to help you explore every loan program and help you build a full purchasing plan that includes everything that goes into buying a home, including, of course, the interest rate. That is truly the best way to save the most money and get the best deal on your home loan. And then if she was still listening, I would also tell her this. Starting with a realtor is something that only the people that have an insider source know that's what they should do. And a big bonus to this is you get the gigantic benefit of having a united team working for you, with neither one of them invested in slamming a deal through despite what the other one says. You've got a full team working together, people who've already worked together and people who know how to look out for first-time home buyers as a unit. I've seen it too many times where people work with a realtor forever and then they shop lenders at the last minute and they pick a lender that doesn't know anything about the realtor and doesn't know anything about these people's actual full big picture in their dreams, but the buyer still goes out and shops like they're looking for a grocery store checkout clerk. I see people go out and they talk to a realtor forever and they wait to the last minute, or at the last minute they shop lenders and they bring in someone brand new who hasn't been working together and they don't have a team. And there are disastrous results. Sometimes people lose their dream home. Sometimes they get into deals they shouldn't get into and they lose money either immediately up front or over the time with the particular purchase. I hate to see it, but deals fall apart, or sometimes they get stuck in one of those money pits because no one's looking out for their best interests. So that's my best advice for finding a rare lender who's going to work for you. Nothing will put you in a better position than having a team working for you that you can work with them. An unstoppable force that's going to get you the best overall deal. But most importantly, they're going to work with you from the very beginning, not just scan your item through the checkout. They want to make sure you've done the right planning because they realize that's where you could save tons of money, not just with the interest rate at the last minute. And most of the unicorn realtors recommend a mortgage broker, which is different than a bank or a credit union. That's tip number 3 on lenders. Banks and credit unions, in my experience, they almost never beat a mortgage broker. That's because mortgage brokers can offer you pretty much all the same loan programs that banks and credit unions can, plus a whole lot more programs that the banks and credit unions don't have. A mortgage broker is going to have the flexibility for first-time home buyers in today's economy, so you can figure out a way to do this affordably. And most importantly, a mortgage broker acting as your consultant and advocate, they're going to walk you through all the steps and all the options, not just the ones that a specific bank or a specific credit union is trying to sell you. So all of this advice, I know that it goes against 99% of what the internet says, but I got to tell you, I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. And I can confidently tell you that the people who cling to the number of an interest rate, most of the time, they're just not confident in the process. And they are just clinging to that numeric value because that's easy to comprehend and hold on to. Much easier than understanding the entire strategy. That takes a little work. But if you do a little work in your hiring process, they're going to pick you up and do a lot of that for you, and that's where you're going to save big money. And this is the big secret that big real estate and online lenders don't want you to know about. They think people are so overwhelmed, they can just screw you over with a number, get you in, put you in the factory, and send you on your way. Getting you the best home loan, it is so much more than just a great rate quote. And the good news is you can get a master's degree in first-time homebuyer loans just by checking the show notes. There are multiple episodes down there. I've been doing this a long time, and we got a ton on loans. It's a big deal, and you shouldn't feel like you have to do all the work on your own. So you can start with the podcast resources, but then get yourself a full real estate support team working as your consultants and advocates first, not just a grocery store checkout person. And my last tip on your financing, it's simple. Don't wait, gang. I see so many people online spreading horrible information, telling people to save up and do all this and wait before you talk to a lender. No. I mean, can you buy a home that way? Sure. Is it the best way to do it? No. The more you work with someone guiding you through the planning, the better position you're going to be in when you have the funds saved up. You plan while you save. That way you learn about all the options and you're going to discover things and probably end up going sooner. Remember my stats? 72% of the people that thought they were going to be 12 to 18 months, they're in 3.2 months. Is that right? 3.2 months. Wow, I thought I said weeks. I didn't. I said months. With the right team, you can get a full pre-approval for a loan months or even a year ahead of time. A pre-approval, not a pre-qualification, and it's not going to hurt your credit, and it's definitely not wasting the realtor or lender's time. That's the one I hear so often. I thought I was going to be wasting their time. Ugh. All right, I'm just to say, guys, stop telling yourself you're going to be wasting their time. If someone makes you feel that way, good. You don't want to work with that idiot anyway. They're not going to do the best job for you, and they're wrong. You are not wasting someone's time reaching out 6 months to a year ahead of time. Planning is what the good realtors and lenders love, and they're stoked to do it with you. So just do it. You've got nothing to lose by getting a full loan approval today. Soft pull, so it won't hurt your credit. You're not committing to buy a home. You're just figuring out where you are. If you were going to go out and buy a home this weekend, but you're not, you're going to take that as your starting line and start working. You're going to benefit so much from working with a consultant to help you get the best possible loan product and interest rate through the planning that you do. So do this early. I don't care if you're 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years out. Hell, if I'm in your ear holes right now and you haven't done a full pre-approval for a loan, you're doing this wrong. A pre-approval puts you ahead of the game. Again, there's more in the episode guide with all the loan episodes that we've done over the years. I'm going to give you one last bonus tip here on part 1. Down payment assistance programs and grants. These evolve frequently. They change month after month. So anything you heard from someone a long time ago has nothing to do with what's happening right now. Getting a current program can save you thousands in your home purchase. This includes even if you have a big down payment or you have high income. Always ask. They're ever changing. And you know what? Sometimes you can even put one on top of each other. It's called stacking them. Check out episodes 340 and 426 for more details. All right, that's your essentials checklist, part 1. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss parts 2, 3, 4, and so on. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyaHome.com to get started.